Two-Face, Bruce Wayne, Ra's al Ghul, and the Red Woman walk into a bar. Hello once again, watchers of good movies. My name is Nick Pell, and this is once again coming from my apartment. Now today we are going to be talking about the film Incarnate. Now if you haven't actually heard of this film, I don't really blame you, because this film, as far as I've noticed, hasn't really been that well advertised. I haven't seen hardly any trailers for this thing. I feel like I saw one back in the summer sometime, and I haven't seen anything since. I see the Bye Bye Man trailer a lot, but nothing else besides that. Now, general premise of this film is that we have Eckhart. He is this kind of scientist who has the ability to go into the minds of possessed people, and the idea is that instead of being, well, while the people are being possessed, their actual person is in a trance, in basically asleep. And he goes into that dream that they're having, which is a perfect reality, and he has to break that reality for them and have them exit the reality of their own choosing, and that expels the demon. When he learns that there is a demon which is connected to his past, which is now inhabiting the body of a young Bruce Wayne, to be David Mazow's, I don't know if that's how you say it. He picks up his things and he goes to try to help the boy and take care of a demon from his past as a result. And that is our movie. And in a very strange turn of events, which I was not expecting at all, this is one of the most surprisingly good films of the year. Eckhart gives a fantastic performance in this film, I thought. I honestly liked his performance in this more than in Bleed for This, which I saw just a couple weeks ago. Wasn't a huge fan of that movie. I really liked this one for some reason. He does different versions of his performance. His main one is in a wheelchair where he's just crippled after a car accident many years back, and so you get to see that side of him. You also see one where he's just kind of dressed up nice and fancy when he's in the minds of the people that he's trying to save. And so he's playing not two different characters per se, but he has to act two different ways, I would say, throughout the course of this film. And that just kind of made it very interesting, I thought. And then David Mazouz, I've only seen him in Gotham and then The Darkness, which was terrible and probably going to be my top 10 worst of the year. He actually did very, very good in this movie. He doesn't do a lot per se. He basically just sits in a room a lot. And it's not really him speaking most of the time. I'm pretty sure it's just dubbed over. But in regards to like the facial expressions and the kind of creepiness factor, he did a very good job, I thought. And I actually quite enjoyed his performance. You could tell that this is filmed a little while back, like at least a year ago is when this film was made, because he still has kind of the higher voice as opposed to what he has now as Bruce Wayne in Gotham. It's just kind of an interesting thing for me as a fan of that show. We also have Carice Van Houten from Game of Thrones fame. She plays Red Woman in that show, and she plays the mother of this boy who's being possessed in this movie. She doesn't do a ton. She has just kind of some interactions with Eckhart, otherwise she sits on a couch pretty much the rest of the time. And then we have Matt Nable from Arrow Season 3, played Ra's al Ghul, and he plays the father of this kid who's kind of a drunkard and has a restraining order against him, so that's fun. Now I really like this new take on the idea of possession, because one thing which really caught my attention early on in this film is how they explained the process which goes on in this film. The idea that whether it's a demon, an unclean spirit, a jinn, no matter what kind of like a supernatural creature is inhabiting somebody, it's ultimately just a parasite which is feeding off of their life energy, and it just has to be flushed out. And so instead of dealing with religious means to exorcise whatever creature it is, he goes into the minds and basically exterminates the parasite and basically forces it out at the will of the host. And that's just a really interesting concept for me. And as far as I'm aware, it's not really something that you've seen too often in these types of films before. Seeing people compare this thing as kind of like the Inception meets the Exorcist, it does have that kind of element to it, because it is kind of this world building type of thing that Inception introduced. It's not quite to the vast level that is. It's not like you go deeper and deeper and deeper down someone's subconscious to exercise a demon. You're on the same level every time, but it's just a really interesting comparison and a really interesting way to look at it. I did feel like there were some predictable moments, however, in this film, especially one in particular where someone is told, don't touch the kid because that's how the demon spreads and can control people. And then you can kind of guess what ends up happening. It's kind of a trope of horror films. You do what you're told not to do, and kind of bugged me in that extent, because it was supposed to be a really touching scene, and then it's like, don't touch him, please don't touch him, and then, yeah. And then only in the beginning, there are some minor jump scares, nothing which really bugged me all that much, but the rest of the film has very legitimate scares in it, and that was something which I was, again, very, very happy with. It wasn't just random stupidness, which just like, oh, a raccoon is in the trash and it scared us, and there was actually nothing scary outside whatsoever. It's nothing dumb like that. It's actually legitimate scares, and that's something which I was really appreciative of. I also liked how the demon, or at least the creature possessing this child, was dealt with throughout the course of this film. Because over the course of the film, it is just basically showcased as this voice. We don't really see it. We don't really have any other idea of what makes it up, except for the voice which it uses when it's inside a person. There is a part towards the end of the film where part of the creature is visible. We don't get to see the full demon, and that was something which I was actually very happy about, because Chris Stuckman said this in one of his reviews a while back, is that when you see the menacing creature, it doesn't make it as scary anymore, because you know what you're running away from. It kept kind of the mystery to it, and it's really just a creature that Aaron Eckhart's character is the most fearful of. And I think that by not showing us the actual creature which is possessing people, it made it all more effective, even continuing past that point in the movie. And I also felt like the ending was very, very well done as well. There's a twist to it, which when you first see it, you generally know what's going on if you've been paying attention to the rest of the movie. But I felt like by the time the credits rolled, it was just dealt with very, very well. And if this film does well enough, which I don't think it's going to, because I don't think enough people know about this movie, I could see this thing getting a sequel, because I think it's not that bad. I could see it being kind of like another Insidious franchise, maybe. I liked it. You guys, surprisingly, Incarnate is probably one of my favorite films of recent memory. It's not going to be on my top 10 of the year, for sure. But it was a very surprising movie. I was honestly going into this expecting to hate it. I did not expect to like this thing at all. I thought it was going to be cheesy, because horror films don't generally do well this time of year. I was not blown away. I was very surprised with how good this film was, and how into it I got, how original it was, how logical it felt. I just really enjoyed this movie a lot more than I was expecting to. I definitely say check this thing out if you are a horror fan, if you're a fan of any of the actors that I listed. Well worth your time. I think it's a very new spin on the possession genre. But guys, those are my thoughts on Incarnate. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Did you like it as much as I did? Did you hate it more than I did? Let me know. Like, for a comment, and subscribe once again if you so choose. I'd appreciate it immensely. And as always, people, my name is Nick Pell. And once again, keep on watching.